mentioned whilst finishing off the top infrastructure of the ship about a diorama base. Well, here it is. It's an old frame. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what it contained. I've just got it. So in order to get this into a sea scene, I want to put resin in there. But before I do anything like that, I've got to seal these gaps. I can't know if you see that under the camera. There's a big gap there. If I try and put resin there, it's going to leak everywhere. So first job is to get some of my favourite Poundland filler, and with a wooden stick of some description, that one there will do, fill up the gaps. Mucky job, someone's got to do it. So I'm just going to work it round the edge of the frame to seal it in, so I won't get any resin leaks, I hope. Shouldn't do. I've done this before, so it should be fine. So yeah, I'm just pressing it into the gap. What I'm going to do also is seal behind that as well. So I'm going to get on with that, and then I will show you what it looks like. Now I've got the Poundland plaster around the edges. It looks an horrific mess, I know. It's part of the fun. I'm now going to take a dampened sacrificial brush and just smooth all that out and get rid of any cracks or anything at all that may appear. Just damp, doesn't have to be sodden, just damp enough to smooth over that surface to make sure there's no gaps in the edges before I pour that resin. Do not need any leaks. So I'm just very gently working that so it goes nice and smooth and is completely resin tight. I'm not going to say watertight because that's, I don't think it ever will be watertight, but definitely resin tight. So yeah, just make sure there's no holes, no gaps, no areas where anything can get through. So again, I'll carry on with this and then show you the final result of this section anyway. Right, now that's all smoothed out and done, get my old friend PVA and seal the wood. But when I come to give it a very light blue, so just work the glue all over the place. Just mix it with a plaster if need be, just to make sure that I've got a nice canvas to paint on. I'm going to dye the resin a blue, but I want the base to be blue as well, just to give that idea of deep sea or something like that. So yeah, this is a very mucky job, but it's one of my favourite jobs of modelling is. Oh dear. Oh, to be 6 again. Oh, too late. Continuing with the diorama base, I was thinking about dyeing the resin, but I've decided I'm going to paint it instead. Paint the base and then resin on top. I have tried to dye it before and I've had so many difficulties getting the resin to be as clear as I want it to be. So I'm going to try this time. So with a blue I've chosen, very small amounts, just work it up to the edges of where the filler is, and then paint all over that wood base just to fill it in. And I'm hoping that the resin will be clear enough so that we'll be able to see the props and anything else that I decide to put in the resin when I come to cast it. I've already masked the side, so hopefully I won't get any blue paint on the right deliciously white frame. I want to keep that white if I can. So yeah, I'm just going to continue painting this and then I shall show you what it looks like, to coin a phrase, when it's finished. Finished doing the base coat of the paint with a the base with a brush, and now I'm going to do something I may regret, but I've got to try it. I want to do a little bit of tone. So this Humbrol 109, I'm just going to see if I can give it a bit of a lighter blue in places, just to bring out some different shades underneath the resin. So the Belfast is now in its diorama base, and what I want to do first is to mark where I'm going to paint some more 109 to give it that look of a wake, and mark there as well for the turbulence from the props. Hopefully that will come through the resin. So just with a pencil, just very gently just scribe ever so gently where I'm going to put some extra 109 with the airbrush, like that, and then some prop wash. Can I say that? It's not an aircraft, I know, but just like that. Like that. So yeah, and then we shall stick the model down with some Mod Podge after I've done the painting. So with the airbrush set to a low pressure, I'm just going to follow those pencil lines and just do that. And try and colour that triangle in, just to hopefully present a lighter colour to come through the resin. Okay, I've done the painting on the underneath of the diorama, so now to stick the ship in. And I'm going to use Mod Podge Gloss. I'm using gloss because I don't think it matters if it's matte or gloss, to be fair. So I'm just going to put a load of gloss around the holes, because obviously I want them sealed as well. And I'll do that from the other side once the ship is in there. And I'm just going to put rather large dabs all where the whole of the ship will sit, like that, to hold it in place. And I think a bit more blodging there will be fine. This is quite an old pot of glue, so some of it's quite lumpy, but I don't think that's going to matter. There we go, get that in there like that. It's a mucky job, but someone's got to do it. Lift it up and then just very gently pull and push these wires down, and then set the model into the dio. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those wires tight through and then bend them underneath like that, so it holds the model exactly where I want it, like that, and just square it up, give it a bit of a tilt, because I do believe the ship would be tilting to one side when it fires its main weaponry. And then I'm going to leave that to cure before I do any resin. Yeah, I think that's in there. Good enough. Having done my GCSE maths, I have a concern that I might not have enough resin. So, as the HMS Belfast was firing on the D-Day beaches to take out various defence that the Nazis had put in, I'm going to, not to scale, I know, but put myself a beach there to take up some of the volume that the resin will have to fill. Now I know that Belfast wouldn't have been that close to the shore, I understand that, but I feel I've got to do something. I'd rather have too much resin than not enough resin. So, taking these like that. So it's just normal tarmac chippings. My old friend PVA glue, a lot of that. Just mix it, loads of it in there, like that. And with a suitable stir, this is the one I did with the for the plaster. Mix that all in. Right, so with my soon-to-be D-Day beach, I'm just going to pour these in here, like this, and then push them up against the side of the frame. Oh crikey, try not to hit shit. And that will hopefully use up some of the volume that the resin has to fill. Just using my Poundland makeup brush to smooth the sand out. Now I've got it into position like that. These brushes are brilliant, they are really good, and they're so cheap. It doesn't really matter, and they clean up alright, but if it gets ruined, it's my Pound makeup set, it's Poundland, it's brilliant. So yeah, just to tidy the sand up. As I said, I know the ship wouldn't be this close to shore, but it's to give me a fighting chance with the resin. I'm worried that the litre of resin I've got, or litre and a half of resin I've got, may not be enough to cover this up. So I'm just going to give myself a fighting chance. Well, the ship's set into its dio, the beach is dry, the rocks are dry, so this is where I'm going to find out just how good my gluing has been. I'm going to spin it upside down like that and make sure I don't rest it on the ship like that. That's what I'm going to do, just to make sure I get no resin spillage whatsoever. I'm going to mask the underside of the frame. It's not that I don't trust my own work, it's just that I don't trust my own work. Just in case there's any leaks, I can always take it off afterwards. I just want to make sure that I don't make a mess while I'm making this diorama. So yeah, just doubly sure there's going to be no leaks. That's all I'm interested in. Oh, come out. So whichever the beach side is, which is this side, I'm going to screw that into place there with two little screws, and it should sit nicely underneath the dio. So in my little box here, oh craps, got a couple of screws, tweezers. I think I'll pick that one and that one. There we go, a couple of more screws. screwdriver of sorts. Would help if I put some glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. And then we'll mount these. Mount this where the beach is, so that when the screw does go through the wood, it shouldn't notice. Oh, cripes. There we go. I can always cut round that once it's in there. I'm hoping this will self-trap straight in. I won't have to drill anything. There we go, it's gone. And that one's done. And now we'll put that one in now. Yep, that's nicely below the frame. Now I've just got to separate the pairs, work out polarities, and then solder them to these wires. I'll do that off camera because you don't want to see my bad soldering. And then I'll show you what I've done with the soldering and wiring once it's all done before I cast the resin. Right, leads are wired. Just turn off the light. There we go, you can see them on now. If I try and put myself in the shade, they will be brighter. I'll just put some, this is just for test. I'll change the batteries when I'm finished. That back on. So mix the resin and get it poured now. Now the resin's poured, I'm going to stir it together very slowly so as minimise bubbles, and for at least, because of the amount, at least 10 minutes, which I'm not going to video because that would just be terrifically boring. But you get the idea of the dedication this sort of thing needs when you're doing a resin job. Very slowly. I don't want it to go all over the ship. And I'll add it ever so slowly and find its own level. Well, the resin pour is done. I reckon that's excellent. I've got, well, a bit of resin left, but it's worth having too much and not enough. It will look ridiculous with being in a very shallow sea. And I've got the ship angled about right as well for when it fires its main gun, so I'm happy with that. So all I'm going to do now is let that go off. Apparently, according to the box, about 24 hours. So yeah, I've got it on all corners, got it level, very, very happy. Has set marvellously well. I had a few leaks underneath, but nothing drastic. It's kept its level where I wanted it to be, which is brilliant. So now, using Mod Podge gloss, going to do some wave effects. First of all, the shoreline along there, and then working out from the ship and the bow lines, and then I should do the waves. With this, I've got to do each stage very, very carefully, so I'm just going to use Mod Podge. Just squidge it along the rocks, so like that. All the way along. Like that. Now this brush, this airbrush, I'll use for varnishing. It's got quite a nice steady compressor on it, so I'm just going to blow the Mod Podge up like it's water, like that. So when it dries, it will dry clear and shiny like the resin and give me a wave effect against those rocks. the rear of the ship where the propellers are, I'm going to do a bit of a messy sort of, not too much, like that, and then blow it away from the ship. Oh crikey, it's a bit bigger than I thought it would be. There we go, get the ship round that way, and squidge it at the front of the ship, like that, and then with the brush walk it in. And then airbrush down there. So you're thinking, well, I'll put that bit in there, aren't you? Well, I hope so. This bit of fun, I'm going to put in there as to sort of represent a German shell hitting near, but not quite hitting, the HMS Belfast. There we go, that's quite a good plume of water, or near as damn it. Just shove that in that little plastic cup. Space it out a bit. And I think that's pretty good actually. Seems I'm not that talented, I'm quite impressed. It's cotton wool that I'm going to thin out, and take the plastic tubes off like this, and then very carefully, if I can without dropping it into the glue, because I must admit I'm fast running out of space here in the little workshop with this dio, or shed I should call it, not workshop, not professional. So yeah, put that in there like that as best I can. Shove it all in there. And then, with a little bit of care, much better, there we go. And then ever so gently, if I can, slide it back on. There we go. Quite like that. I'm hoping the LED will transfer light up to the cloud. That's what I'm hoping, which I will test when the diorama's dry. Right, for my next trick, I'm going to mix some 34 matte white with some of this for Hello Gloss varnish. I'm using this varnish because I don't find it very good, to be fair. It doesn't seem to want to work through the airbrushes, it doesn't give me a good finish. It could be me, I'm not saying that the brand is rubbish, I'm just saying it doesn't work for me. So I feel like that pot's probably blocked. Grab myself a cocktail stick, if I can unblock that. Always the way in it, don't you, something? So just a little squidge. This white's quite thick, so I'm going to do a little bit, and then I'm going to thin it with this varnish like that. use the same cocktail stick to mix it. The idea being that it'll give the white paint a bit of a shine, I'm hoping. You get that nice and mixed. Like that, so it's like milk almost. Yep, that'll do nicely. And then you get a little tiny detail brush like this one. And all I'm going to do is just going to go around the surface edges of the ship and just try and follow where the Mod Podge went. Just to highlight where the water's hitting the ship. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing, but I will turn the camera around in a minute, or turn the ship around I should say, and then you can see it. Oh yeah, I'm just trying to put a bit of detail around there to highlight that more. I shall put a bit round the rim of this explosive like shell hole type thing that I've done. Give the illusion of white water because it's been disturbed dramatically, violently, whatever the word is. Hopefully when it goes off it will be white and shiny and follow it round as best I can like that. A bit on the actual plastic casing there, quite thick like that, and just a few spatters here and there. And then just smudge it. The idea is there's no sort of defined lines anywhere. Like that. Right, I'm going to turn the model around so you can see the front of the ship and what I've done. On the front there I've just painted where the bow wave would be, just to bring out a little bit of detail. So I'm going to do this side as well. Like that. Same again. Drawing that together. Like that, and bring it down. The tiniest amount here, because I think that has worked exceptionally well. Just there where the engines would be running, and then a couple of dabs here and there, not too much, because that paint on the board I did earlier, I think for the resin looks fantastic. I might even smudge that with my finger like that. That's better. Just to give the effect of, as I said, white, a bit of white water. I'm hoping that will look really, really good when it's dried. So yeah, I'm going to carry on doing all this, and then the next step will be to, I suppose, the concluding photos and a bit of self-praise.